Hey everyone, this is Reggie Osenton. I am the admin for the Brandon Valrico Mustang Enthusiasts. We have a cruise coming up to Daytona to the road course race this weekend. And I thought it might be a good idea for those of you who have not been to a NASCAR race in person to just have a few pointers, and especially those of you who really aren't even a NASCAR fan. I thought maybe I'd just give you some pointers based on my experience. I'm not necessarily an expert, but this will be, by my count, my 66th NASCAR race attending live. I've been to 12 tracks so far. I want to make it to all of them at some point. I just want to give a few pointers about maybe some do's and some don'ts to make going to a NASCAR race interesting and fun, especially if you're not a NASCAR fan. So my personal history is I used to think that NASCAR was just driving fast and turning left, and I thought it was stupid. And then I went to a race, someone took me to a race in person, and it is so much better live than in person. So to go to a race, let me just mention a handful of things that I think are some do's and don'ts. First, before you go, study a little bit. Learn some of the words and the phrases they use. What does it mean to bump draft? What's a bump and run? What does it mean to be loose? What's it mean to be tight? What's a round of wedge? All of these things. I actually, before I went to my first NASCAR race, I read there is a book, NASCAR for Dummies, and found out that it's really not just driving fast and turning left. There's a lot of strategy and a lot more involved as far as not just driving fast. Second thing is learn some of the rules, and I already mentioned strategy. Learn some of the strategies. It's not just getting out there and driving as fast as you can. When do you take 4 tires at a pit stop? When do you take 2 tires? When do you do a gas and go? How much are you going to adjust the air pressure in the tires to change the handling of the cars? When do you make that last stop? When the caution comes out, do you make a stop or do you stay out for track position? Learn some of those strategies and learn the rules. Like, for example, at Daytona, you can't go down below the yellow line or you'll have a penalty. Learn what the penalties are. It's like football. Know what a clipping penalty is. Know what a holding penalty is. It makes the game a lot more interesting. And also, like in football, if you know the strategy of trying to run the ball and kill the clock, it makes the game more interesting. Well, if you know the strategies in NASCAR, it makes a race a lot more interesting. And probably, in my opinion, the one thing to really make a race more interesting is to pick a driver. Pick someone that you want to root for, and you get a personal stake in it. I actually think pick a team. There are race teams out there. Most teams have 2, 3, 4 drivers. Pick a team. I personally have root for Stewart Haas Racing. Tony Stewart was my guy. He retired. So now we root for the 4 car, Kevin Harvick, but also anybody at Stewart Haas Racing, because one of them wrecks. So I used to have somebody to root for. Also pick who you don't like and who to root against. It's like if you love the Redskins but you hate the Cowboys. That makes it a lot more interesting in both ways. Far as what to bring to a race, and we're going to really get into this a little bit, but what to bring to the race. First thing to bring, money, cash. Parking is expensive. Close to the track, you'll probably pay $50-$60 just to park your car, and you haven't even gotten into the race yet. Bring some extra clothes, a change of clothes for when you get back to the car, because you will feel sticky from the heat, from the rain, whatever it is. It's nice to change into maybe some fresh socks, whatever. Wear comfortable shoes. You are going to be walking for probably at least a couple miles, so make sure you have comfortable shoes. Bring sunblock. Bring your rain gear. Now, Sunday's race is a road course race, and they will run in the rain, but usually they will wait for the rain to be over before they run, like they did last Sunday at the Daytona 500. You in the stands, on the other hand, you can't have an umbrella. You can't take an umbrella in, so you need to be prepared for rain. Have a rain poncho, whatever it is, a hat, whatever, to protect yourself from the rain during either racing in the rain or waiting on the rain delay. Bring extra cell phone chargers. And we'll talk about that more here in just a little bit. Also, this isn't a what to bring, but this kind of gets us into the next thing. It's just some miscellaneous pointers. One of the things is bring an extra cell phone charger. You will be burning up your cell phone battery. But also too, at the race itself, if you like to do Facebook Live, or you even like to post on Facebook, Instagram, one of those, there are so many people that are doing the same thing. You may not get a signal to be able to do that at the event. So just don't get frustrated. It doesn't matter who your carrier is. Sometimes you cannot post while you're there. Get there early. You want to be in your seats at least 30 minutes before green flag, maybe more like 45 to an hour. But just getting from your car to the track could take a while, depending on which track you're at, how crowded it is. Plus the traffic is horrendous. So get there early. Also too, Google for each track there are back ways in, so that you're not, like, for example, going to Daytona. If you're coming from the Orlando area, don't just go from Orlando up I-4. Coming from Tampa, I actually go around Orlando and up 95. I leave the track that way because, quite frankly, I-4 scares me, and it's a better way to travel, a safer way to travel. Let's see, a couple other things. I'm trying to read my notes here. One little note I put here is go to the bathroom during the green flag runs. Most races, there'll be like long green flag runs where really nothing much is happening. That's boring. That's the time to get up and go to the restroom, because if you wait till the caution happens, everybody goes at the same time. Get your seats up high. This is not like football where you want to be down low. You want to be up high, especially at a place like Daytona, so you can be in the backstretch. Also keep in mind that a lot of tracks, especially the high bank tracks, do not sit at the start-finish line, because the way the angle of the track is, you can't see it. Daytona, for example, I like to sit down about the exit of pit road, and I can see up towards start-finish line. Entrance to pit road is another good spot, but be aware of that. As far as where to sit, if you sit in the middle of a section, not as many people getting in and out, but it's a little tighter in there, and the seats are very packed. As opposed to if you want to sit on the aisle to have a little bit more room, you can spread out. Those are just some various pointers. Last thing is what to take. Everyone does this a little bit different, but I'll just tell you how I do it. First thing I'll tell you, one thing I don't take is I don't take a pair of binoculars. A lot of people do. If I take a race newbie, this is good for a race newbie to kind of get in there and they can see where into the pits and so forth. But personally, I don't like the amount of weight that it takes for a pair of binoculars and taking up room in my bag. Some people also will take the holders to hold your tickets. When they have the nice printed tickets, this is kind of a nice thing to have. It's another one I've had for a long time. It even says Winston Cup. Some people do that. I just take the ticket and fold it up and put it in my pocket. But as far as what to take, of course, first thing is you want to make sure you have your tickets. Also too, you need to be very aware of what they will and will not let into the track. They have rules about the size of bags. Women's can typically take a normal purse. But as far as the size of the bag, Daytona, for example, most tracks say a bag has got to be 14 by 14 by 14. So that's 14 inches in all directions. So we changed not too long ago to the clear plastic bags. Here's one of the ones that we use. Just a plastic book bag. Is that 14 by 14 rule is covered, but also too, this gets you through security a lot quicker than them poking in here and looking around, because they security is tight, and it will slow you down if you got to start pulling stuff out of your bag. As far as what I have in here, this is just for me. This works for me. In the front pack, I've got 4 or 5 Ziploc bags, because remember, you may be in the rain, so I believe in Ziploc. It's a Ziploc bag. It has my extra cell phone charger and a battery pack for the cell phone. Second are the cables. that are for my scanner and my headset. I'll get into that more in a minute. I actually carry an extra cable because one time I was at a race, the cable shorted out and I couldn't hear the scanner, which was, it really sucked. So I take an extra cable there. This is the, I put for my good camera, my SLR, my battery pack, my extra discs and so forth for the camera. I keep those separate. And then the extra batteries, AA batteries, and my headsets need the 9 volts batteries. Take extra batteries, have those ready to roll. And then lastly, last bag is I'll take Advil, take some Band-Aids for feet because blisters get on there. If you have medicines you have to take, of course, take that. But some people will put Tums in there. The food there tends to give you heartburn, so it's a good idea. And then as far as this front pack is concerned, of course, hand sanitizer with COVID. That is an essential. As far as the main compartment is concerned, first thing I always have on top, I always have a couple of these little rags, just plain white rags. In the summer it's hot, wipe sweat. If you're in the rain, you may need it. You may need it to wipe off the seat, whatever. Good to have one of these handy. Now, here's the main thing you need. You absolutely should have some type of ear protection. At a big track like Daytona, it's only really loud when they go past, and then backstretch it's not that loud. You get some places like Bristol, it's a half mile. That is the loudest thing I've ever heard, including jet engines and everything else, was the race at Bristol. So ear protection is essential. Here's the headset that I use. This is a combination of its ear protection, protection for your hearing, but it's also what we listen to our scanner. It just so happens, and by the way, here's the scanner that goes with this. I'll get with this in a second. And we have the ones with the boom mics on there. We have the wires and so forth, and my wife and I, or whoever goes with me, we can talk to each other using the headsets. It's also important that if you're using the microphones, you cover them when you talk, because these microphones pick up all the sounds of the cars as well. So headset, very important. Equally important, scanner. This is mine. These usually come, they have racingelectronics.com. You can reserve a scanner to rent, headsets to rent. Get that reservation ahead of time because they do tend to sell out. Get to the track early so you can get it. Now, if you go to enough races, it makes sense to buy these. You'll save money in the long run. But this is just your typical Uniden scanner. Make sure it's pre-programmed with the channels. I personally like to listen to the radio broadcast, MRN, during the race because they're very good at letting you know what's going on with the race. But it's also kind of fun. They leave the mics on when they go to commercial, and you can hear the banter between the people that they work together doing the radio broadcast. But you'll also hear things like, hey, go down to the 48 pit. They have a problem, so we're going to come to you when we come out of commercial. So I'll listen to the radio broadcast, and then, of course, I'll go to Kevin Harvick's channel or whatever driver. If there's a wreck or whatever, you can go in there. You can listen to the TV coverage. You can also listen to the NASCAR officials talk about, well, let's throw the caution out or whatever. So absolutely essential to have a scanner. Makes it much, much, much more interesting. A couple more things that I have in here. My good camera, my SLR. Of course, it's torn down right now, but essential, a good zoom lens. This is a 300 millimeter. From sitting in the stands, I can go to where I can get a very close-up shot of a team doing a pit stop. Pit stops obviously is a good place to get a lot of good pictures. Also, of course, when wrecks happen, I tell whoever has the camera, if it's me or somebody else, I say, hey, wreck happens, point it, zoom in, and just hold the shutter down and take a whole bunch of pictures, and maybe you'll get one or two really good ones. So your cell phone is good for regular pictures, but as far as getting the nice up front or up close pictures, an SLR is a good idea if you have one, and it's worth lugging it around when you get those pictures, especially when it gets dark. And then at the bottom, keep another one of these little rags handy. And the very last thing in my bag, a trash bag. And I learned this a while ago. This is not to pick up trash. This is strictly for the rain. Remember one time I forgot my raincoat. I actually took it and punched holes in it. I made myself a rain slicker out of a trash bag. But for me, the key to this, whenever I get a trash bag, it is one that is big enough that I can cover my backside with it. I can take one end, stick it in my front pocket here, take the other and stick it in my front pocket here, cover my butt, and that way I can sit on the wet bleacher and keep the seat of my pants dry. Just a little thing that I like to do. So that is very quickly some pointers for NASCAR newbies. I hope you find this video interesting. If you have any questions, certainly shoot me a message. I'm gonna put this on the YouTube channel. Shoot me a message and I'll be happy to try to answer. Maybe not perfect, but this is the way I like to do it. And I hope you found this somewhat entertaining, and certainly hope you found it informative.